Alrighty. Zoom in. Video by The Theorizer. Pixar only has one villain pretending to be all 27. He's going through, it's not a paradox, it's a thought experiment. Where I currently am in his video, he mentions the going back in time and becoming yourself, training yourself to become yourself, which then does the same loop over and over again. Time doesn't operate in the two-dimensional perception of a line or going in a loop. What everyone calls time, I think I'm said this before, it's a three-dimensional object, like the ocean. It has currents, eddies, whirlpools, tides. It's affected by things outside of it as well as inside of it. It's all highly interconnected and interactive with itself and with the individual, such as yourself or myself, perceiving one's own self within it, affecting it, and being affected by it. I'll give that a minute to sink in. Moving on now. If you needed to pause, you should have done so earlier, or do so right now. That way you can think about it and then continue onwards. What you call time is simply continuance, things continuing onwards. Not in any particular direction, not bound by a linearity. For example, the electron cloud model for atoms uses, Heisenberg's uncertainty principle, oversimplified, states we can never really truly know anything. So that and the wave function theorems lead you to the conclusion that a shaped cloud is where the electron orbiting around a particular nucleus of an atom could be, until you take a snapshot of where it is, collapsing the wave function and revealing the subparticle to be in a precise location, thereby concluding Schrodinger's cat conundrum. Everything continues onward in whatever direction it so sees fit to go in. That's why photons behave as waves and particles, because they are simultaneously both things and neither. Hence the double slit experiment. Now, all of this, most scientists would say, is quantum mechanics. I, however, recategorize it because the word quantum comes from a Greek or Latin word that roughly translates meaning the smallest. So truly, to properly categorize it, quantum would be the Planck length. Also, the word atom. Ancient, well, to you, ancient Greek or Latin, meaning indivisible. That's a very rough translation. Please see the actual Greek and Latin translations for more concise information. We would have to recategorize those words to apply to the Planck length, which is currently understood to be the smallest and most undivisible length of measurement possible, and recategorizing electrons, protons, and neutrons as subparticle physics. How does this tie into the Theorizer's video? Well, when you become a trans-dimensional, trans-continuance being, and you go backwards through time or continuance, and you meddle with the causality of your own existence. You're not going in a strictly linear, two-dimensional plane. You're not going in a circle. You're going in a spiral that, in the three-dimensional representation, is simultaneously both a repeat of what you have already done, and because you're taking your current consciousness and perception of self back through and going and altering a different variation of yourself. You are going from here, follow death perception now, backwards in a spiral, like a spring, if you want to imagine it as such, or slinky. When you stretch it out a little bit, if you have one, take a spring or a slinky, stretch it out a little bit, look at the spiral. It is a three-dimensional object. That is how these bootstrap paradoxes, which are simply a thought experiment of going backwards in continuance and affecting yourself to change who you were then and who you are now, really work. That is how all of continuance really works. Your current self, through your conscious perception of who you are, does not change because you are traveling through continuance in a spiral. A three-dimensional spiral through continuance. That's why I said the analogy of it being an ocean with its own eddies, currents, tides, and whatnot that is affected by outside objects as well as inside objects, and so on and so forth. What the theorizer is saying, through the knowledge and understanding that I possess as a filter and conveying it to you, is that the company, by and large, as an entity, has transcended itself and is manipulating itself to become itself in its current state through multiple reiterations of the spiral, so that it has potentially an army to confront the other entity If you don't fully understand all that I have said, take your time, think about it, write it down, work through it piece by piece. Visualize it from 2-dimensional into 3-dimensional, because that's how continuance works. It's a 3-dimensional object through which us, as 3-dimensional objects, in the baser line most sense, coexist and interact with, aka memory. You remember what happened before in this video, just as you remember what happened before in your own life. You are continuing through continuance. The present moment becomes the past, and your future becomes your present. That is the linearity of continuance through a small-minded perception. My explanation thus far, once you fully comprehend it and think about it, will make you a larger-minded version of your past self, so that you can think differently. Or maybe you were just watching this to hear some idle, rambling thoughts of me, your favorite idiot and self-proclaimed insane person. Either way, if you did like it, leave a comment, say something if you got to whatever point and suddenly something clicked in your mind and things became more clear to you. If not, also leave a comment letting me know the same thing. Why? Because I want to know that... Excuse me. My arm got tired. I want to know that what I'm doing is reaching to you, the individual, in mass and at the individual level. Well, that'll be all for now. And now, the obligatory part. Join my Patreon. Support my rambling, self-proclaimed favorite idiotocracy of various streaming and video platforms, and you, the individual. Yep, that's all for now.